Hello and welcome to this GCSE revision video for the writing task for the free past paper, I say past paper, the practice paper from yours truly, the GCSE Spanish tutor. So, in this specific practice paper, you are going to need the printed or the digital copy of this practice paper, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about in the next slide. You are also going to need a notepad if you are taking notes, or you are looking at the questions digitally and you don't want to type them, instead you want to write them. You're going to need pen, pencil, highlighter. And if you are doing this digitally, the last option there is a stylus. I'm using an Apple Pencil because I'm doing it on my iPad. But again, it's completely up to you, however you want to do it. So, the first thing I want to talk about is I actually have the practice writing paper up on my website now, and I also have the GCSE mark scheme to go along with it. So, you can grab these for free. I will leave a link down below. You don't have to sign up to anything. You literally just click on the picture and you can just download them, you can print them, or you can do them digitally. Let me just show you how you can actually access them. So, on your device, I'm on my iPad, but it'll look roughly the same if you're on your phone or your computer. You're literally just going to go to the front page, and what you're going to find is a section that says snag these freebies, and you just literally want to click on the view for free, view for mark scheme button. If you press view mark scheme, for example, it's going to open up a new tab, and it's just going to take you to the mark scheme. Same with the actual paper itself. When you click on it, it's going to take you to the paper where you've got questions, all that stuff. The way that I actually designed these past papers was similar to the ones you will have seen in the AQA or the WJC, or any other exam board that does languages. So there are two basic writing tasks. The first question is always an easier one because you've only got one option, and that's worth 20 marks. The second question is usually a little bit more difficult because there's more given to you, but it's all in Spanish. And the first one is all in Spanish as well, but again, it's more condensed, it's easier to understand. With the second question, it's more Spanish, but also you've got an option. Usually you get an option of two choices to talk about, and you're always given a scenario. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the scenario could look like when we get to the question. Then you have your translation activity. This is usually from Spanish into English, but that's not always the case. And going back to that first point a little bit, because I've just looked at my slides now, the papers that I designed for these are meant to be for foundation and higher tier. Usually the foundation question always comes first because it's the easier one to understand, and the higher tier question, which is the 28 marker, is the second question because there's more Spanish involved. The English translation is usually, not the English translation, the translation is usually always the same for both tiers, on my papers anyway. So there are a total of 60 marks. So let's look a little bit at the first writing activity. In terms of the questions, I'm also giving you a theme. So the theme for this one is school life and current studies. So the question says, escribe una entrada de blog sobre qué te gusta estudiar en tu colegio. Then it's got, deberías incluir la ubicación del colegio, qué estudiaste recientemente, qué vas a estudiar en el futuro, y dónde te gustaría ir de universidad. So, let's go through and do our basic reading skills. If you are studying any language at all and you are not using highlighters, you are not a real languages student. So, let's go through and look at our cognates first of all. So, we've got escribe, entrada, blog, sobre qué te gusta estudiar en tu colegio. Deberías incluir la ubicación, colegio, estudiaste recientemente, estudiar el futuro, universidad. That's all that we've got, although we can sort of gauge. So, now, entrada de blog. We've got the word blog, so really there's only one thing it could be, a blog entry. Because entrada, entry. Sobre que te gusta, so you like. Estudiar, to study, in your school. Estudiar, don't forget, it's in the infinitive. So it's just going to mean to. So, escribe means to write. And we can just piece it together. Write a blog entry about what you like to study in your school. Then we've got la ubicación. Now, ubicación just means location. And the reason I highlighted it was because if you take away the U and the B and maybe like substitute it, the Asian bit, location del colegio, so the location of the school, estudiaste. Now, aste is the past tense, which has been added on to estudiar. So it's saying what you studied. So we want to be including past tense. We want to be using our past tense words there. Que vas a estudiar en el futuro? So this en el futuro bit gives it away a little bit there. In the future. But the que vas is what are you going to? So again, we want to be using the vocabulary in the future. Then the last point here, ¿Dónde te gustaría ir de universidad? Where, that's a question word in Spanish. Where would you like to go to university? So I can, on the side over here, I'm actually just going to start building little bullet points, but I'm going to number these. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to just come over here. I'm going to start writing little notes, not the full answer. 1. So number 1 is the ubicación del colegio. So where is the college, or the school rather, because colegio is like high school. Okay, let's say I go to school in England. So I'm going to say Inglaterra. And it's in una ciudad grande. It's in a big city. There's lots of pollution, I suppose I could say. Contaminación. And I can say it's peligroso. Just finding words to describe my city, basically. Again, I'm not talking about like show-off phrases yet, as I call them, because I actually want to incorporate those in the actual writing piece. These are just my notes. Then for number 2, it says, que estudiaste recientemente, so what you studied recently. So I'm going to be using the verb estudié, I studied. Because don't forget that E with an accent there changes it to the past tense. Specifically, I believe it's the imperfect. So, estudié español. I can say matemáticas. I'm just going to write maths because I'm running out of space a little bit. And dibujo, which is art. And then for this, my sort of like wow phrase, I can say Inglés me aburre, which means it bores me. Oops, it's not how you spell bore. Is it? I don't know. You get the gist. Then number 3 says, ¿Qué vas a estudiar en el futuro? 3, me gustaría, really important verb. Me gustaría, what am I going to study in the future? I'm going to study Alemán in the future, which means German. Alemán. Then number 4, ¿Dónde te gustaría ir de universidad? Now, for this question, you can be a little bit clever. So you can actually say where you want to go to uni, or you can just say, I don't want to go to uni. So I'm going to say, no me gusta. And I'm going to start forming my answer. Okay, so now I can actually start constructing the answer for my question. So, how would I start off a blog post? So, in Spanish, I'm just going to actually just draw a line to see where the... go. So, I'm going to say, hola a todos. This just means, hello everyone. And I'm going to say, ¿qué tal? How are you? Now, what can I say about my school? So, I'm just going to introduce myself again. Me llamo Aaron y vivo. I'm going to say Bristol. Just a random city. I don't live in Bristol, just by the way. Y vivo en Bristol. Voy al colegio en el centro del ciudad. So I go to school in the center of town, or the center of the city. Y es un barrio, sorry. Peligroso. So, peligroso. What else can I say about my city? So, I'm going to use a bit of a Fabi phrase here. So, I'm going to say, siempre he pensado que mi ciudad can't spell today. Demasiado, what was it? Contaminación. Y es un asunto grande. So I've said, I've always thought that my city has too much pollution and it's a big problem. So that's point one sorted. Now, I'm going to say what I studied recently. So I'm going to start off with my verb. Estudié, or actually, I'm going to start off with a bit of a sentence opener. So, ayer, yesterday, estudié español, matemáticas, español y matemáticas, actually. I'm going to say something about Spanish, sorry. I could say, me encanta español. Dado que, puesto que, creo que, no creo, dado que, puesto que, porque, ya que, dado que ofrece la oportunidad de aprender idioma nueva. So what I've said there is, yesterday I studied Spanish and maths. I love Spanish because it offers the opportunity to learn a new language. That's hit the criteria there. Me gustaría, so I'm going to say en el futuro. Actually, no, I'm going to say cuando sea mejor. That's use of the subjunctive. Cuando sea mejor. Me molaría. No, me gustaría. Me molaría estudiar alemán. Dado que siempre pensado que what have I always thought about German? Es una forma de well, it's a form of, let's say it's a form of relaxing. Why not? Relajarse. So that's that ticked. That done. And then the point about university. So, let's see, what can we say here? Let's talk about my mum. So, mi madre dice que la universidad es importante. no obstante, which is however, or you could use sin embargo, but I always recommend using no obstante. No obstante, hay que tener en cuenta que podría, so it could, podría costar un ojo de la cara y acabo de leer, which means I've just read that. No es pan comido. So, es pan comido is an idiomatic phrase. It just means like it's a piece of cake. But with this, I'm saying it's not a piece of cake. So, there is my overall answer. Now, I'll tell you what's really good about this answer, and I'm going to highlight them in green. I have got, there's one tense there. There's another tense there. Another tense there. Present tense there. Another tense by here, the future, conditional. Another tense by here. There's another tense by here. Acabo. What do you call it? Present. Podría. Future. So all the greens I've highlighted are the different tenses, and this is where the marks come from in the mark scheme, especially if you're doing the higher tier. You want to be getting as many as many tenses as you can in there, because it shows that you're able to manipulate the language and use it for different situations. So that's question 1 done. So we can cross that out. Now we'll move on to question 2, and question 2 is typically the lengthier one. So again, let's go through and we're going to highlight our cognates and, going to go through and understand the question. So, recientemente fuiste a España con tus primos. So, instantly, that's our scenario. Like I told you, you'd always be given a scenario in these papers. So, recently, you went to Spain with your cousins. Lee las siguientes opciones y elija un tema sobre el que escribir. So, Lee just means read. Options, can't speak today. Siguientes is just like the following or the upcoming options. And elija is not really a cognate, but when you think about eliminate, I suppose not eliminate, but select one of the themes to write about. And then this part here is really important. Debe estar información. Oops, I should probably make this a bit smaller. Debe estar información. Not that small. Información, ejemplos, justificar, opiniones. What's that said there is you should give information, examples, and justify your opinions. And then it says, puedes mirar a los puntos y escribir sobre ellos para obtener ayuda. So what's that saying there is you can look at the points, which are the little bullet points, and write about them to help you. So, tema 1. El medio ambiente en España. So, el medio ambiente is environment, funny enough. España, obviously Spain. So, you've got tus opiniones sobre los asuntos medioambientales en España. Your opinions about environmental issues in Spain. Tus opiniones sobre los coches y el cambio climático. Your opinion about cars and climate change. And then it says, lo que hiciste el año pasado para ayudar al medio ambiente. That should be el, not al. El medio ambiente. What you did last year, because hiciste is you did. And then el año pasado is obviously last year. And then, ¿qué deberíamos en el futuro para mejorar el cambio climático? ¿Qué deberíamos? Anything that ends in amos is a we. So what should we do in the future to improve climate change? Then you've got theme 2, which is la comida y cultura. Food, culture. Lo que comiste durante el visitado. So what you ate during the visit. Si te gustaría comer la comida España otra vez. This word si is really important. Si just means if. So if you would like to eat the Spanish food again. Si crees que es importante probar comidas culturales, if you think it's important to try cultural foods. And then again, si crees que la cultura es importante para ser un individuo. If you think that culture is important to be an individual. So, I'm not actually going to go through this. What I'm going to actually do is leave a comment in the comment section below and answer this question, and I'm going to reply to every comment that's made, and I'm going to see how well you've done. Again, you can pick up the mark scheme for this, but I'm just not going through it because I've gone through the first question. You get the gist of what you have to do. I'm going to move directly on to the translation task. So, the translation task on all of my papers is usually for around 12 marks. So, let's see what this says. En verdad, el asunto del medio ambiente me preocupa mucho. Diría que hay mucho en el mundo que me gustaría arreglar. Por ejemplo, siempre he pensado que el problema con personas sin techos es un problema muy importante. Cuando camino del colegio, puedo ver muchas personas en la calle en una carpa. Como comunidad, deberíamos promover el asunto en las redes sociales para educar a otras personas. Nice little chunk of paragraph there, if I do say so myself. So, en verdad. Verdad, in reality, but in Spanish, it's more about making it make sound make sense in English. So, en verdad, instead of saying in reality, we can say something like truthfully or in all honesty. So we're going to say truthfully. El asunto del medio ambiente me preocupa mucho. Asunto means issue. So the issue of del medio ambiente is just the environment. The issue of the environment troubles me. You can say troubles me, worries me. It's just that part here, me preocupa. And then that mucho, obviously, you need that intensifier. Diría que hay mucho en el mundo que me gustaría arreglar. Diría que is sort of a fabby phrase. So I would say that. And then again, hay mucho, there is much or a lot. Depends which context. In this context, it's going to be a lot. Hay mucho en el mundo que me gustaría arreglar. En el mundo means in the world. There's a lot in the world that I would like to fix. Arreglar, the infinitive form there, you should be able to see that it's a two. Something that comes with two in front of it. Por ejemplo, this easy one, this is a cognate. For example, siempre he pensado que el problema con personas sin techos, so the problem of homeless people. Homeless people is a important problem. Then this part here, cuando camino del colegio, when I walk to school. Because again, camino conjugated into the form of yo, I. When I walk to school, puedo ver, I can see. Muchas personas en la calle. So la calle is the street, so I can see many people on the street. And then this part here, en una carpa. Carpa is just the generic word for tent, so in a tent. Although in all honesty, it probably should be tents. en los carpas. But for the sake of this session, we'll just leave it like that. Now, this next part here, como comunidad. Now, como can mean a lot of things. It can mean to eat. It's a question word. But in this case, it's meaning as. So, as a community. As a community, deberíamos, again, there it is, the amos. So, we should promote the issue, again, that asunto. Oh, the issue on social media. Because it says there las redes sociales, which is like the social media platforms. Para, to educate different people. Because otras personas. And there you go. That is your full 12 marks.